All right, let's see what we're doing today. I guess H3 and Vosh are still going at it. I haven't watched all the memes here. Oh my god. I wasn't expecting this as the opening. Oh man, as the opening picture. Me. Hey guys, just prepare yourself for a jump scare real quick. Oh, never mind. The thing was covering it up. What is that? We still have the horse back here. Title of the video is Vosh, no more horsing around. Okay, we'll see how funny this is. How long is it? 4 hours long? Okay. Super Bowl recap. We'll watch the intro. We'll skip to no more horsing around. Actually, you know what we should start off with? Oh, you know what? That is a fucking horse costume. What the Whoever made that horse costume should be thrown in a dark Guatemalan prison for the rest of time. Holy shit, that's a horrifying thing right there. Let's see here. You know what we should actually start off with? I watched something earlier today. Okay, really quick. Present Sunday. Nope, videos. I watched this earlier today. Well, I listened to it. I guess if I watched it, then I guess I would have seen that horse costume I saw in the not in the thumbnail, but whatever it was. The preview. But Mr. Sunday here demolished Vosh. You're alive? Yes, I am alive. Barely. School has started for me. I am probably going to have to quit my current job and go back to my old one if I'm able to do that quickly. Oh yeah, by the way, really quick, just as we're getting started off here. Hey guys. Since I really would rather do this while I am in school, because all my school is on the computer and all streaming stuff is on the computer. I can kind of enmesh these things, not do my schoolwork on stream or anything, but just be here. And I can also apply my school stuff to stream because I'm in political science courses. So if you guys want to support me, please consider becoming a YouTube member. Please consider subscribing on Kick. It really would help quite tremendously if you guys did that. Third Rail with Omar. How's it going, my guy? We last stream watched a video. I don't even know how the it came up. Legitimately, I have no idea how it came up. But your channel came up and we saw your video on having 2.8 million subscribers. And then I looked at your subscriber count and you did have 2.8 million subscribers. How the did that happen? We have a Thursday O. Well, he said that he took it over. I don't know if that means that he bought it or if he inherited it or whatever but we have a Thursday panel. Are you asking if I want to join? It totally depends on if you are like what the topic is and what time. Shoot me a DM on Discord. And I'll be able to give you an answer way more quickly. Freelance conversation? Yeah, shoot me a DM on Discord so that I have it like somewhere where I can refer back to it on the time and all that. And if I'm able to, then I will. because I want to do more conversations with people. I like talking to people. I'm a lover, not a fighter, you know? So, but yeah, my DMs are open. You'll be able to find it. Anything else that we should take care of before actually diving into anything? Let me see what we have in the content suggestions. Explain the subscribers. Yeah, like I don't really care whether you bought the channel or whatever. Like if you like, you say that you didn't buy the channel. I don't want to like sit here and shit on you about it. Like, I don't care about this. Yeah, inherited. Yeah. I want to ask questions, but I also don't care that much about it. And then I also don't really want to pick a fight over this when I don't know enough about it. It's just not that important to me. Okay, anyways. Yeah, just shoot me a DM. We can see if I'm available, etc., etc. But yeah, I want to figure out incentives for people to subscribe. I want to find out incentives for people to slap that donation button. So if you guys have suggestions or something that you would want in exchange for your money, besides all of the amount of time that I put into reading articles and streaming and all of that stuff, if you need a little bit more goading just to support your favorite streamer, please let me know. I really would like to actually offer something rather than just beg for money. That being said, I'm also going to be shilling way more often. I'm watching with YouTube Premium, IDK if that helps. You know what? I legitimately have no clue. Tron probably would. So when Tron, the editor, watches the stream back, I am sure that he will let me know if that helps or not. I'm pretty sure it does though, with ads and stuff. I'm pretty sure I just like automatically get a cut of the ads instead of it being one of those things where it's like, well, are you, this many years old? Are you, child friendly or whatever? Yeah. Okay. We're actually going to start now. But yeah, I am going to be shilling way more often. I am going to be trying to improve my shilling. All right. I have done this for too long without a substantial payout. And it's time for daddy to bring the bacon home. All right. So, President Sunday says that he's done. Let's see.
Hello,
also,
everyone. I want to start by saying...
Pause. Thank you.
...that I am genuinely saddened.
Why is my browser like this? I do want to say that I did pre-watch this because it came up in my YouTube recommendations and I just wanted to see what it was about. And President Sunday sent Vosh to the Shadow Realm in terms of Vosh's reputation within the Vosh Orbiter realm. You know who else would be really interesting to see their opinion? Would be Shark 300. I wonder if he's has a video on the situation. Damn, he has 121,000 subscribers now. Proud of him. Nope. Nothing on Vosh's illicit predilections. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I want to start by saying that I am genuinely saddened to have to make this video. I'll explain by the end why I feel I have to make this video, but I'm going to try to keep it brief, so we'll just get right into it. On February 6th, while streaming, Vosh attempted to save an image from his internet browser, and this automatically brought up a folder to the screen featuring explicit images of anime girls, some very clearly underage. This was streamed to his entire audience.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that
Oh,
I'm
please be
referring to.
censored. Oh, thank you.
And with an audience of Vosh's size, in no universe...
My favorite, not my favorite part of the entire drama, but one of my favorite parts of the entire drama is Vosh's reaction, that just like little scream that he has, and then it gets cut off at the end of the clip. Oh, that's perfect.
Structure that I'm referring to. What?
And with an audience of Vosh's size, in no universe is something like this not going to spread everywhere. And 3 days later, Ethan Klein on the H3 podcast spent 2 hours of a live stream exposing the leak to 50,000 concurrent viewers and went over what can be diplomatically described as optically unsound clips from Vosh's past in which he discusses issues surrounding child and lolly content. Vosh immediately scheduled a stream afterwards, at the beginning of which I posted to his live chat that he should seriously consider whether this was a wise decision. Obviously, he didn't take this seriously, as he went on to try and explain away the presence of the underage content on his computer by claiming, and I kid you not, that he mistook it for short-stack goblin hentai.
This is one of the reasons why stuff like this is impossible to clarify, because even talking about it comes across as like crazy defensive or whatever, right? But what else am I supposed to do? Let people like Ethan Klein lie and say that it was all like a folder full of lolicon, or just explain it, you know? Anyway, one of the two images just flatly didn't look like lolly. I don't give a shit. Like cope, diamond, I just don't care. Like disingenuous shit, you know? The other one is like a threesome with two chicks and a guy, and in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that
Yo, Omar, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, my guy. I super appreciate that. That's super awesome of you. I genuinely appreciate that. That's super awesome. Uh-oh, we have to sit through all these? Amazing. I even forgot that that was a notification that still worked. Because the kick notifications don't work. Amazing. Okay, we have to... Is there a way to skip them? I actually don't think I have the ability to skip them.
Amazing.
The dirtbag left is now the goblin left. Population Vosh. True, dude. Holy shit. I've never heard a truer statement in my life.
Amazing.
That was 4. One more.
Amazing.
Amazing. We love black people here.
that artist is a lolicon. Yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn. And you'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn. And but you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right? That was the vibe that I got, because in the image, the girl that's shown has super thick legs and has like tits and a belly. So that's just the vibe I got. But now knowing that the artist is a lolicon, which I have been roundly reminded of, obviously knowing that it was intended to be a lolly drawing. So like, that's how it is, right?
And I didn't say anything. I mean, I watched the back and forth between Ethan and Vosh on stream. I even criticized Vosh and Ethan when their arguments were bad, and most of them were, but I didn't do what I normally would do and make a judgment. I didn't condemn Vosh. I didn't believe he was that person. So I waited for Vosh to say something else, something that would fix it. I don't know what I was hoping Vosh would say. I guess I really was just hoping for some explanation. And even when he gave one, and it was completely unconvincing, I still waited. Because people often say stupid things when they panic, things they later go back and correct when they've calmed down, right? And some people, when faced with something awful, wait, like me, hoping for an explanation that will make things make sense in a way that makes the awful situation go away. I don't know what I was hoping for. I can't fathom now what he could have possibly said. In retrospect, maybe there wasn't really anything that he could say that would make any of this better. But I waited. And Vosh went with goblins.
Goblins!
There was a moment in Ethan's second stream on the Vosh leak where Ethan pointed out that
if you're friends with someone in real life and you have history and you have rapport, and if something comes up that's really, concerning, you would talk to your friend, right? But these are not my friends. These are people online that I know.
Right.
And even saying I know them is kind of stretching it. like, you know, it's not. This is not
True. We don't know any of these people online. There are very few people in this space. If you're a streamer, or if you're even if you're a chatter, okay? Even if you're a chatter, there are very few people in this space that you should actually call your friend because you don't know them. You know their online personality. That's all you know. That's why I can count on one hand people that I would call my friends. And on another hand, I could count, you know, maybe 10 people I would say are super chill, cool people. Both streamers and chatters. And then everybody else is mostly a stranger to me that I'm not going to sit there and die on the hill to defend their honor, right? Like, it just wouldn't be worth it. So he's a pervert. Vosh is listen, people like to pretend that this is all a surprise to us. We've known for years that Vosh is a pervert. I have never, ever, ever, ever seen people cope as much as they are right now about Vosh being a pervert or being a coom lord. He is a coom lord through and through. Through and through, dude. The amount of time that he devotes to talking about his sexual proclivities, to talking about, you know, how people should act in, you know, sexual dynamics, and, you know, how base it is to be in poly relationships and shit. How he talks about the hentai that he with. Vosh has been a pervert. And this should be a surprise to absolutely nobody. He used to be in Destiny's community. Of course, he's a coom lord. True. You know what? Actually, true. But even when I was a fan of Vosh, when I was in his community and all that shit, like, even then, I mean, I knew that he was a little weird with his sexual shit. I just don't care that much about people's weird sexual shit. Now, granted, when it comes to like lolicon, it's going to be a little bit different. When it comes to, you know, if you have weird, you know, weird things to say about children, okay, now we have some problems, right? But, like, in general, I really don't care, like, if you're a furry or whatever like, that's just not something that bothers me. But if you're a furry, you don't get to coom to furry and then complain that people are calling you a weirdo, right? Just like if you are into lolicon, right? You don't get to cope and seethe and cry and moan about people thinking that you're very weird or possibly a pedophile. Because it's like one step removed from being a pedophile. Right? God is patient, but he eventually exposes hypocrisy. I don't even think that this is a hypocrisy thing. Because, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't watch Vosh anymore, right? But, like, I don't feel like Vosh has ever been, like, a big anti-pedo crusader, right? Like, if he was one of those people, like, if he was, like, a Mama Max type person, then, yeah, 100% mega hypocrisy exposed. What happens if you're into young horses? Well, I don't even have an answer for that. I don't even have a meme answer for that because it's so Well, you know what? Vosh isn't into young horses. He just wants to be the horse with the big meaty. He doesn't want to fuck horses. He wants to be the horse that, according to him. You saw Contra's tweet about Vosh and Keffels? No, I have not. And if you want to link it to me, I'm not going to complain.
This is not what you think it is.
Something.
Hold on, let me go back a little bit.
It's like, you know, it's not
Back. Listen to the whole thing.
Goblins. There was a moment in Ethan's second stream on the Vosh leak where Ethan pointed out that
if you're friends with someone in real life and you have history and you have rapport,
Why are people
and if something
starving?
comes up that's really, you know, concerning, you would talk to your friend, right? But these are not my friends. These are people online that I know.
Right.
And even saying I know them is kind of stretching it. It's like, you know, it's not, this is not what you think it is.
something clicked in my head when I heard this. Like this line was directed at me. Obviously it wasn't, but it kind of felt like it. You see, I realized that I wanted to give Vosh a few days. Not simply because I liked Vosh as a person. Vosh has done genuinely good things for people in the community, from helping to raise funds for good causes or for friends in need, to defending friends when they're publicly attacked. This is someone who, in my world, in my corner of the internet, has come to matter. And it's really hard to watch someone who has come to matter to you, whose well-being you've come to care about, turn into something that disgusts you. And it's hard to have.
Man, he's feeling the disgust that I feel for Vosh now. Oh God. One thing that is very strange as a content creator, because we always talk about, you know, we talk all the time about parasocial relationships on the end of, you know, the chatters, right? Oh, you're being parasocial right now. But creators become parasocial too, with larger creators than them, right? Like, I wonder how many like sub-orbiters, like, I guess like I would be considered like a sub-orbiter of Destiny, right? Okay, let's get some bread in here. I don't understand why my shit is so inefficient. You never watched Vosh? Well, I used to watch Vosh. I used to be a socialist. I used to be all these things, you know, and I eventually stopped because I just couldn't defend the positions anymore. I learned more about economics. I learned more about, you know, all these things, and it just became really hard to justify calling myself a socialist, and that eventually got me kicked out of Vosh's community and got me kicked out of all these socialist circles and all of this stuff, right? And so, like, I was parasocial with Vosh for a while, but I was never like an actual Vosh orbiter. I would probably be considered like a sub-orbiter of Destiny at this point. Like, I'm not really an orbiter because I'm not going to go onto his stream and like beg for clout and you know, beg people to or like, you know, basically beg for his attention like the other orbiters do. But I wonder how many other like sub-orbiters like me, people who are associated with Destiny, maybe have talked to him a couple of times, maybe even met him in real life, right? Like once or twice, who have this like parasocial relationship where they think that Destiny is their friend, or they describe Destiny as their friend, right? I think that creators think that they're immune to it because they are, you know, they think they're immune to it because parasocial relationships, that's for the chatters, okay? That's for the common folk. But because but because we're streamers, it doesn't mean that we're immune, right? Do you have a stream schedule? It's unpredictable to pick when you stream. Right now, I'll just give a quick little aside here. Right now, my stream schedule is very sporadic because I have school, I have work, I have a lot of like family and close relationship obligations that are all coming up and coming to a head all at once. So right now it's unpredictable. It's likely going forward going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. After 2 are going to be the only days that I am 100% absolutely going to be able to stream. So keep that in mind. Anyways, Tron, back to the video.
Have a friend come under attack. But
these are not my friends.
Mm-hmm.
These are people online that I know.
Right.
And even saying I know them is kind of stretching it.
these are not my friends. These are people online that I know. And even saying I know them is kinda stretching it. I realized I was thinking of Vosh as a friend, when in reality we had only talked a couple times. I was emotionally invested due to the way our communities seemed to be entangled, not just politically, but emotionally too. People in my community genuinely care about Vosh, and this whole complex of entanglements rubbed off on me, and it impacted how I regarded Vosh as an individual. During the H3 stream, and even my own watching it, Vosh's community were there defending him, for the same reason I was waiting. Vosh is a friend, someone who has done good, someone who is genuinely beloved by his community, someone whose stupid, thoughtless edgelord takes have forced that community to defend him again and again, to bear the weight of protecting his reputation. This has happened so many times and has been going on for so long it's become reflexive. People just jump in to defend him, like they're protecting a friend. And so now, when through sheer carelessness and utter stupidity, Vosh has posted real evidence that he hoards drawn images of underage girls on his computer, his community is right there jumping on grenades defending him because he's their guy. He's their friend. But he's not. Which is why he's happy to let them do this even though they can't win. The evidence is crystal clear. He posted it himself. The grenade he pulled the pin out of wasn't for us. It wasn't for his community. It wasn't for me. It was for Vosh. And right now he's watching everyone else jump on it for him. He would watch you and me do the same. Because Vosh, I realize now, is the type of person to allow his fans, this huge community he's built, to destroy themselves in his defense. To get slapped with labels like pedophile and child and lolly defenders, to be made into jokes in front of the entire world. Also, he can avoid doing what he should have done as soon as that folder appeared on the screen. Take responsibility for the disgusting images he put on his work computer and then broadcast on YouTube for everyone to see, and bear the consequences himself like an adult. Vosh isn't a friend. He's not your friend or my friend. He's someone we've watched, talked about, maybe talked to once or twice, but I don't know him. And you probably don't either. This is a guy who makes money doing a performance. The leaked images in Vosh's folder have no excuse. His self-interested behavior since the leak has no excuse either, and his claims that people have only accused him of pedophilia and defending underage as part of a reactionary conspiracy to take him down have been shown to be bullshit. And I honestly feel so sorry for all the people who are reflexively defending him now. The people who have made the good things attributed to Vosh possible. Who actually have made them happen. And who are being dragged down into the dirt with him, also that he doesn't have to lie in the bed he made all by himself. The people who are setting themselves on fire to keep him warm as he lets this continue. I said that I was saddened to make this video. But I want to clarify that I'm not saddened for the loss of Vosh. In reality, Vosh is not important. He's barely even there. Vosh is a cartoon character played by a man named Ian Kaczynski into his webcam.
Oh, why did he have to bring up cartoon characters in the midst of all of this? In the midst of all of this, why did he have to bring up cartoon characters, man? Kind of brutal, if you ask me. Kind of brutal. Uh-oh. We don't even have enough room to bury people. I've been so in this game. Jesus. I have no way of coming back from this. I think I just need to reset my game. Why are you upset? The consumption of our dead offends me. Okay. You guys need to stop. Sorry. Let's keep listening to the video. Sorry.
Vosh doesn't do anything.
Also, you said something about Progressive Victory earlier, that they're cooked. What happened with that?
The people in
I thought that
Vosh's
he quit
community are the
Progressive
ones who
Victory because of
do
Destiny.
things. And I'm not just saddened, but angered by the fact that Vosh has again betrayed and sacrificed them all on the altar of his self-interest and pride. And it isn't just Vosh's community that he's thrown under the bus. Vosh has positioned himself as a large public representative of a range of really serious causes that people are invested in, from trans rights to the Palestinians currently being massacred in Gaza. How the enemies of these would love to be able to point to a large community like Vosh's and point to them mockingly as pedophile enablers and child defenders, like he has allowed them to be framed as. Vosh has delivered the right wing a propaganda goldmine. This is not just internet drama, this is serious business. And Vosh isn't stupid. I know that he knows better. And frankly, I'm furious that he has chosen to put his own self-interest first, at the expense of his community and the things he claims to stand for at every turn. Vosh's community does not deserve this. He benefits from their support, and he benefits from his position as a public figure with a large following representing progressive causes. Vosh has a basic responsibility to prioritize these. He owes them better than this.
Means of production, but socialized.
I will not
Whoa,
be throwing myself
holy
on a
shit.
grenade for Vosh. Vosh is just a guy. But the parasocial relationships that people like Vosh cultivate in their communities make it so that one person's stupid, selfish decisions can undermine whole movements, which is insane. Everyone pays for what Vosh has done, except Vosh. And I am making this video because even by just trying to be fair and to give him a chance to explain himself, I have been accused of parasocially defending Vosh myself. But the thing about parasocial relationships is that it's extremely hard to tell you're in one from the inside. And the embarrassing truth that I've come to realize is that even though I haven't defended Vosh, my reluctance to condemn him for what everyone can see he has obviously done is absolutely due to that same parasociality, which you never realize is there when you're the one in it. I was giving him the kind of generosity you would give to a friend. No more. I won't stand by Vosh's decisions, which have been selfish and irresponsible, and by which he has proved himself unfit to bear the responsibility that comes from having the attention and respect of large numbers of young people. And I will not defend him while he throws them under the bus to save his own skin.
Bro.
They deserve better. And I am done. Thank you for listening, and take care.
Absolutely bodied. Absolutely destroyed, dude. Holy shit. All right. Hold on. Hey, CDN, thank you for the sub on Kick. I really appreciate that. Every sub helps. Every sub, every dono helps me, help you stay entertained. Okay, am I getting incorrect information in DMs that there is drama happening on JSTLK?
Tony,
I'm
it's
not.
just so
Oh yeah, the Contra tweet here. We'll let this buffer, I guess. Jesus Christ. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Using bogus transphobia accusations to defend a cis man's public consumption of sexually explicit childlike images is unbelievably harmful and egregious. That's all I'm going to say about this. Yes, the video is coming. Yo! Contra making a video on Keffels and Vosh? Wait, can someone link me what the wait, what is Keffel? I was about to say what the tweet was that Keffels did, but I assume that she did a stream on it, right? I feel like I heard about her doing a stream on it. Wait, speaking of J-Stalks, I just saw this pop up in his Discord because I thought that there was drama going on. Keffels is the best thing that ever happened to me. I am so off the hook. God, I love ContraPoints. She is so base, dude. She is so unbelievably base, dude. Holy shit. She tweeted this after I relapsed. Stop. In the weeks before I went to rehab, she was so happy that I was on the cusp of ending it all because the spectacle took the heat off of her. She can absolutely f herself. She is a vulture and I have never trusted her. Okay. First off, this is something that I noticed. This is how people frame things on the internet in the most unbelievably crazy way possible, right? Contra, in the midst of Keffels like going crazy and a bunch of drama going on with her, right? Keffels is the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so off the hook. Obviously a joke tweet. Look at trending. Impeached Speaker Johnson? No way. I can't get through a single thing right now, can I? I'm not clicking on the trending tabs on I am not looking at the trending tab on Twitter on stream. Too dangerous. Okay. News. Also, I want to see I clicked on the Philly DeFranco show because there was a shooting in Houston and it was at the Lakewood Church. If you don't know who that is Joel Osteen's church. And I wanted to see what that was because when I looked at the headlines from it, it was just super scant detail. So we'll look at that in a second too. Do we got anything on who was it that got impeached? Oh, they're barely going to get it by 1 or 2. If these Democrats just decided to actually vote, oh, it's a tie? And then the speaker gets to do the tie break or something? This is crazy that we're like this perfectly split as a nation, you know? I'm sorry. I haven't been able to keep up with everything super close. Who is this guy again? Homeland Security. Oh, because of the border? God, okay. I'm so tired of conservatives. They're more willing. Oh, did I miss the final? One more came through. They're more willing to sit there and do procedural votes to impeach someone than they are to pass legislation that Border Patrol themselves once passed. The Border Patrol agents on the border have made it clear that this would be the biggest bill to pass, the most restrictive bill to pass in 30 years. And they don't want to do it. And they don't want to do it because they want to Biden. This won't go to the Senate, so his job is safe. Yeah, I know. It's just retarded. It's just super retarded. It's really aggravating. And I don't even know what to say about it. But that the Republicans need to lose power in the House and the Senate and the White House. They can't because they're just a broken party. Like, pass all the border bills that you want. I don't care at this point. As long as it's not the of policies that Trump was passing. Anyways, okay. Well, what are we going to next? Are we going to watch some of this? Let's watch some of this. There was a good article today on how the Republican Party died in 2016. Hey, link it to me. I'd love to read that. Republicans are not a governing party. Their whole ideology is government doesn't work, so they just want to break the government even more. I feel like that is more true now than in the past. That's always been something that I've thought, right? But it's only become more real as time has gone on and as I have learned more about our political system. The Republican Party doesn't want to govern unless they can get 100% of what they want. It's not that they're ultra libertarians, because the libertarian aspect of the party is dead now. They'll say that they're libertarian, but they're not. They're super authoritarian. And anyone that wants to pretend otherwise is coping. Sorry, I'm just deciding how deep into this I want to go. I just think it's so depressing. It's so depressing that we, despite everything about Biden that you can legitimately criticize, we do have a president in power right now that is willing to work with Republicans, that has friends in both the House and the Senate that have been there for forever, right? Who is willing to concede a lot. Able to get assloads of bipartisan legislation passed through both the House and the Senate. But at the end of the day, now that it's the election year, it is time to go full, whole hog, all or nothing. We're going to burn the system down if we don't get everything we want. All gas, no brakes into running this country into the ground so that Trump can get into office. That's where we're at with the Republican Party. And it's dog shit, and it's depressing, and it's been said a million times and beaten into our brains a million different ways. So it doesn't even feel like I'm saying something that has any substance to it, because it just feels like, guns don't kill people, people kill people type sloganeering. But the Republican Party died when Trump ran and won the presidency. And our country is fundamentally broken because of it. And if you unironically think that Trump is the better option for president in 2024 than Joe Biden, even despite, again, even if you think that he is a dementia-addled, geriatric, 3 IQ, no brain having, weak-armed man, even if you think that, okay? The people that are around Biden have gotten this country from a place of absolute destitution at the end of the... Not absolute. I'm being a little hyperbolic, obviously. But from a very dark place at the end of the pandemic to where we're at now, which is, hey guys, by every economic measure, every metric that we could look at, better than we were under Trump. By every economic metric that I know of. And yet, because it's Donald Trump, I don't even think, I think if Donald Trump came out in support of trans rights tomorrow, I was gonna say some stupid shit like, it's because they hate trans people, or it's because they hate black people, or, like stupid shit like that. It really isn't that. What it is Donald Trump could come out in support of trans rights tomorrow as a they, them. And I think the Republican Party would still roll with it. I think that Donald Trump could come out tomorrow and support the border bill, and the Republicans who have been fighting tooth and nail against it because of Trump would 180 and pretend like it is the best border bill that has ever been passed in all of human history, and it's all because the Republicans and all because Donald Trump was backing it. There is no single policy. There is no single issue that Trump could flip on 180 and support after fighting against it and saying it's evil for, years, that the Republican Party wouldn't immediately whip around onto. It is not the Republican Party. The Republican Party is gone. Now it literally just is, even though it is the meme, even though it is, beaten into our heads by MSNBC. The one thing I'll give to MSNBC is that they are right on this one. The Republican Party is dead, and it is the party of Trump. But conspiracies, and well, I personally don't feel it. But conspiracies, and I don't feel it, so it doesn't matter, and the media is lying, blah, 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 is the typical BS when you get talking about the economy. Yeah, I know. But under Trump, they felt all the good shit, even though he didn't do anything for the average American. There are no facts in the Republican Party anymore. Zero facts, no rules, just right. It's super depressing. And I don't even care that much about, I don't even know who Mayorkas is, or was, before we just looked him up, okay? Because I haven't been able to keep up with all the news and all that shit. I don't care about him. It's the principle of our institutions and our democracy being railroaded, being on a steam train, on rails, full steam ahead, straight off a cliff, Wile E. Coyote style. And there's nothing that we can say to these people that will change their mind. I think that even like reasonable conservatives, I like, barring like Killer Segan Nair, who I don't think that you guys would support Trump over Biden in 2024. I mean, surprise me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that you would. But like people like Jeb Tan, right? Who I respect and I like. I think he's a cool dude. Okay, no hate towards him necessarily, right? But if even like a California Republican like Jeb Tan, who is more of that traditional Republican type thing, would vote for Trump possibly a third time, is mind-boggling to me. It is genuinely one of the most difficult to wrap my mind around things I've ever encountered in my entire life. I don't understand it. I don't know what we could do to fix it. Unironically, like, if you want to like have my like true feelings on it, right? Like, it brings out the authoritarian in me, even though I'm very principally anti-authoritarianism, right? I don't think that authoritarianism is a good thing. I don't think that we should be limiting free speech, yada, yada, yada. These people are so dangerous to our way of life, to our country, to everything that we have known our entire lives. I would legitimately, if I was the Emperor of the United States for a year, I would legitimately find some way to absolutely destroy Trumpism. And I would take the most insane measures to do it. Not kill all, Republicans or anything like that. Because I don't necessarily hate everything about Republicans, right? Even though I hate a lot of things about them, right? I can't even list off a couple of things. I would probably severely restrict freedom of speech for people questioning the institutions for a period of 3 years. Bring back the Tea Party. The Tea Party and Trumpism are basically one and the same. Trump just hijacked what they were and then made it bigger and worse. Okay? The Tea Party was never principally against, taxation or anything like that. The Tea Party was never principally some libertarian force inside of the government. Okay? The Tea Party was made by a bunch of people that really hated the fact that we had a black person in office as the president, okay? And it's not often that I'm just going to say all of those people are racist or the entire foundation of this is racism, right? Because I don't even think it's that for Trumpism. But for the Tea Party, they just really, really wanted to call Obama the N-word. I will go to my grave believing that. They just really hate black people, and they really did not want to give an inch to a man that won office with that much melanin in his skin. Republicans give excellent personal advice, budget, work hard, and all that. Yeah, exactly. Which is why I don't really hate everything about Republican, ideology or whatever. It was astroturfed as from what I heard. I mean, I don't know the deep history of it, but where is Sarah Palin when you need her? I mean, she's kind of the beginnings of this whole thing, but anyways, we should move on.
You're beautiful.
Really quick. We'll spend 7 minutes on this. I want to know about the Lakewood Church stuff. I was actually, I don't live close to Lakewood. Everyone knows I live in Houston, so this isn't doxing myself or anything. But I don't even live that close to Lakewood. And the amount of sirens that I heard, the amount of helicopters I saw flying over that general area on my way to work that day, was insane. All right. And this is what the preliminary, now he probably has a team of people that were able to get way more information than I read in the 2 articles that I read that night. Right. But, my understanding is there was a lady that went in with a long rifle. I don't know if it was an AR-15 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But she went in with a long rifle and a trench coat, Matrix style, right? With a 5-year-old child clinging to her and started opening fire. I don't know, neither of the articles that I read said that there were any casualties except for her. She was shot dead at the scene. But then when they rushed over to her after they shot her, blood bubbling out of her mouth, she says, "I have a bomb. And I hid it in here." And then she sprayed something at the people. So they had to bust out the bomb squad and the hazmat unit to comb over every inch of the church. And if you don't know, Lakewood Church used to be a literal sports arena. Lakewood Church. Let me see if it says, let me see here. A 29-year-old former sports arena, the Compaq Center. Look at this shit, dude. Does it say what its capacity is? 16,800 people. It is a giga church. It's not just a mega church. It is a giga church, dude. It's one of those quote unquote churches. Yes. And also, just so you guys know, I have a insanely negative bias towards Joel Osteen and Lakewood Church, because during Hurricane Harvey, while me and my family were at a different church doing boat rescues from people that were drowning, feeding and clothing people who were made homeless by the flooding of it was Hurricane Harvey, not tropical storm, Hurricane Harvey. While we were doing that, Lakewood Church turned people away. They were perfectly dry, no flooding, perfectly dry. They turned people away while people were literally drowning in the streets of Houston, Texas. Just like Jesus would have done. So, I have no ill will towards any of the congregation. Obviously, I don't need to criticize the congregation, especially like after this. But Joel Osteen is a scum, false prophet type preacher who deserves to rot in hell as soon as he dies, and he will. By the very holy book that he preaches every Sunday, he is going to rot in the worst layer of hell possible, right next to Hitler and Gaddafi and every horrible person that's ever disgraced the face of the earth. Okay, anyways, sorry. I genuinely despise Joel Osteen with every fiber of my being. I do not think that there is a single redeeming aspect of this subhuman piece of shit. Let's watch this video now.
Beautiful bastards, you're watching the Philip DeFranco Show. I got an extra large one for you today. We got a lot of news to talk about. We're talking about all the new information that's come out around the megachurch shooting. Jon Stewart taking on Trump and Biden. People are saying Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift are the future. Credit score dating, news layoffs, this craziness. And then there's even more, so buckle up, hit that like button to let YouTube know you like these daily dives into the news, and let's just jump into it. Starting with the shooting at Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church and what we know so far. Because on Sunday, a 36-year-old Hispanic woman entered this Houston megachurch at around 2 p.m. as a Spanish language service was beginning. And very notably here, Lakewood is a very highly attended church with around 45,000 attending services weekly, which makes it the third largest megachurch in the country. And according to the police, this woman wore a trench coat, carried a backpack, and had her 7-year-old son at her side while
Never mind. He was 7.
armed with 2 rifles.
Just kidding.
The search warrant affidavit also showing that the woman claimed to have a bomb and was carrying a yellow in-color rope and substances consistent with the manufacture of explosive devices, which appear to be a detonation cord. The law enforcement later said that they didn't find any explosives at the scene. And with us, you had investigators saying the woman and her son entered the church after she pointed an AR-15 at an unarmed security guard and forced her way in. She then quickly began to open fire inside a hallway, but 2 off-duty officers working security at the church responded immediately. Those 2 being identified as Houston police officer Christopher Moreno and Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission agent Adrian Herrera. Those officers exchanged gunfire and the woman was shot and killed. Though also the woman's son was also shot in the head during the exchange and remains in the hospital in critical condition as of recording. With that, the police saying right now it's unclear who shot the child. Beyond that, another 57-year-old man was shot in the hip and hospitalized, but officials have said he has since been discharged. And a very key thing here is that during a press conference yesterday, Houston Police Commander Chris Hassig said that all of the gunfire happened in the church hallway, with the 2 officers preventing it from spilling over into the main sanctuary where worshipers were sent scrambling for cover and safety after hearing gunshot, which is why you had law enforcement officials applauding these 2 men, saying they are heroes who helped prevent a mass shooting. And Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission Chairman Kevin Lilly saying,
these 2 officers held their ground. They held their ground in the face of rifle fire at point blank range. And they continued to fire until the perpetrator was neutralized. And they did not yield. They were a wall that existed between worshipers and terror, between freedom of religion and murder.
Now, with this, as far as what we know about the shooter, officials have not yet officially identified a motive. We know at yesterday's presser, Hasek provided some early information law enforcement had discovered, specifically talking about the AR-15 the shooter used and saying
there was a sticker on the buttstock of the rifle that stated Palestine. A sticker simply stated Palestine on the buttstock. We have uncovered some items. We do have some
Jesus
anti-Semitic
Christ.
writings that we have uncovered during this process. But like I said, we're 24 hours into it. It is very new. We are getting new information as the hours change.
That's really bad.
And so we are going to be delving into that more.
Hasek also went on to say that the officials believe the attacker acted alone and wasn't part of a bigger group, but then continued.
And we do want to state that through our investigation, I mentioned anti-Semitic writing. We do believe that there was a familial dispute that has taken place between
Wait, why are your police officers working second jobs? My understanding is a lot of officers will work second jobs, like as security, for like, especially like churches and like school events, shit like that. I'm not a police officer. I don't have anyone that's super close with me that is a police officer, so I don't like take my word for gospel. Okay, but my understanding is that yeah, they will like take second jobs and like run security for something, especially if they're like a first year or like a very early on in their career officer, because it's just you don't get paid very much as a like what. Let's see, HPD salary. Yeah, I mean, like, look at this disparity. Police officer between 30,000, which is near the poverty line, I think, right? Oh no, never mind. It's double the poverty line, unless you have a family. Right? If you have a wife and kid, then you are just above the poverty line. And if you have, you know, 2 kids, yeah, you're kind of, right? More like a side hustle. It's like police Uber. Yeah. I mean, like it especially if you are someone that is early on in their career as a police officer, and you have like no credentials and you don't have anything extra going on, right? Like a degree or something like that, you're going to have like a really shit pay for the amount of work that you're doing, right? But you know, the benefits over time and the pay scaling over time can mitigate that. But yeah, generally speaking, they'll have 2 jobs from what I understand.
her ex-husband and her ex-husband's family, and some of those individuals are Jewish. So we believe that that is might possibly be
Wait,
where
say it again?
writing. We do believe that there was a familial dispute that has taken place between her ex-husband and her ex-husband's family, and some of those individuals are Jewish. So we believe that that is might possibly be where all of this stems from.
And a big thing here with this whole story, a woman who the media has identified as the shooter's ex-mother-in-law wrote a Facebook post yesterday where she claimed that her former daughter-in-law raged against Israel and Jews in a pro-Palestinian rant. But despite that, the ex-mother-in-law, who CNN reported is a rabbi, said, quote, "This has nothing to do with Judaism or Islam." So as far as why this woman targeted an evangelical megachurch, that remains unclear. Now, it's been reported that court records show the shooter was going through a bitter divorce and a custody battle. During that time, her ex-mother-in-law reached out to staff at Lakewood for pastoral advice. So notably, the records don't say which staff she contacted. And a spokesperson for the church said he didn't believe members or leaders of the church knew the attacker. Through all of this, as others have noted, that Osteen, like many other evangelical leaders, has expressed solidarity with Israel and held events there. But again, this is law enforcement officials say that the matter is currently not being investigated as a hate crime, with them noting that there are a lot of other things at play here and they're looking into it. But this, including a history of mental illness that was documented not just by family members but by police as well, with court filings reportedly showing that the shooter's former mother-in-law sought a conservatorship of her son, alleging that this woman was mentally ill and that the boy was being neglected and abused. And she echoed some of those claims in her
Jesus.
Facebook post, claiming that the shooter had previously been treated for schizophrenia. The shooter also had a checkered past with numerous arrests, with the authorities saying that the attacker had multiple aliases, including both male and female names. And with that, we saw a number of conservative outlets and commentators like Fox News and Libs of TikTok initially saying the shooter was trans, with Libs of TikTok repeatedly spreading this claim and a bunch of others on the
Why?
right running with that narrative. This including reply guy Elon Musk, who suggested with zero evidence that hormones for gender-affirming care could be a major causal factor in violence. But we also ended up seeing Fox News eventually walk back their claims after police said not only did the shooter identify as female, but noting that she was in fact the biological mother of her 7-year-old. And this after combing through past police reports and conducting numerous interviews with people that she knew. And according to the Associated Press, county records showed that under her various aliases, the woman was charged in 6 criminal cases from 2005 to 2011. And those charges range from forging a $100 bill to stealing socks, hats, and makeup to assault for kicking a detention officer, which landed her in jail for 180 days. And as a part of her history with mental illness, authorities said that the shooter was placed under emergency detention in 2016, though they didn't give more information. But more recently and most significantly, in 2022, she was arrested on misdemeanor weapons charges. And massively important here, during yesterday's presser, a reporter noted in a question to officials that records show that this woman had actually had weapons taken away from her in 2022. And then even beyond that, the FBI had literally questioned her about her efforts to purchase a weapon last year. But when the reporter asked how the shooter was able to get a hold of those weapons, officials just said they were still investigating. But they also said that it appeared she had purchased the AR-15 she used legally just months ago in December. And then when asked if the police had opportunities to intervene sooner, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner tried to avoid direct responsibility.
She did have a history, if you want to say that, but there are millions upon top of millions of people who have a history. And to your question and answering it, the response is that we all need to continue to work together.
But numerous people have literally said that they did exactly that, and law enforcement didn't do shit. With yesterday, 6 different neighbors of the shooter telling reporters that she had threatened and harassed them and displayed firearms, making them fear going outside of their homes. And in July of 2022, one neighbor said she filed a police complaint against the shooter for allegedly threatening her with a handgun. In fact, the situation got so bad that 5 months ago, the neighbors got together to spend a whole day where they talked to local elected officials, the police, the sheriff's office, and Houston's legal department. But still, nothing was done, and she was still allowed to own and purchase firearms after all of that. With many...
Now here, okay. Sorry to my conservative friends, all right? For all the nice things that I say about conservatives and all that shit, all right? Now it's time for my lib side to come out, okay? I think I'm fine with red flag laws. It's not a failure of police because police aren't required to, aren't allowed to take away guns, right? They're not allowed to do anything like that. That's the major failure here. Yeah, sorry. This is going to be my soyest position that I say out loud, okay? Holy shit. Holy hell. For the love of God, please, I'll concede so much to you guys, but we've seen so many mass shootings happen. So many mass shootings happen where they have alerted police, they've alerted FBI. Hey guys, this person is insane and we need to do something, and they have firearms, or they're trying to acquire firearms, or, whatever. And because of the Second Amendment and how strictly conservatives hold on to it, it is just impossible to do anything about it. We gotta do red flag laws, guys. All right. I'm tired of mental illness being a scapegoat for violence. On one hand, I understand what you're saying. On the other hand, people that are mentally ill are more likely to commit violence like this. Like, if you're mentally ill and you just have a fundamental separation from reality, you're more likely to do bad, shitty things. And that's unfortunate. And I don't think that we should judge all people who are mentally ill based off of that. But we gotta recognize it is true. And it's not a condemnation of all people with mental illness. But it is a reality that we have to we have to start doing something about. Otherwise, no, but you're not right. Wait, no. I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. You're not right if you go out. Got you. The starting salary of a probationary constable is about 80,000. Hold on. What is that in like actual money, not US, or I mean, what is that in US money, not funny money Australian. Okay, yeah. It is still more than what a starting officer, at least from the next door or the Indeed thing that we saw a second ago. It is more than what an HPD officer would get. So, damn. I need to look into it more, but that contradicts everything I've heard about mental illness. I have never heard a single thing. From what I've heard, your likelihood of experiencing violence goes up, but your propensity of violence doesn't. If we're talking about all mental illnesses, then yes, you are right. If we talk about something like, bipolar disorder, or I would say bipolar disorder, multiple, what do you call them? Like anger issues or emotional dysregulation disorders. Like those are the types of things that will increase. Of course, not all mental illnesses. If we're going to talk about like people with depression, then yeah, you're obviously right. And I wouldn't fight you on that at all. But when it comes to, certain mental illnesses, we gotta be honest about the possibility of someone committing violence, right? Oh, yeah. No, okay, so you're talking about all mental illnesses. Yeah, like if we're including ADHD in there and, obsessive compulsive disorder and shit like that, okay, yeah, 100%. I don't think that you should be barred from owning a firearm if you have OCD or ADHD or something like that. But if you have something like bipolar disorder with a history of violence, right, or the legitimate threat of violence that people around you are like telling authorities about, yeah, right.
Including the attacker's ex-mother-in-law, arguing that Texas's lax gun regulations and lack of red flag laws are to blame. But ultimately, that is where we are with this. And again, remember, we're getting more updates. It's a developing situation. And if and when more information comes out, we'll be there. And then we need to talk about whatever the hell just happened in this video.
Do we?
Because that is Liseberg Park, one of Sweden's biggest and most popular amusement parks. And it's been building an additional water park section, which reportedly cost over $10 million and was set to open this summer. But also that's probably not going to happen because of what... And then we are still getting more and more news and fallout from the Super Bowl, with it now being reported that this Super Bowl broke historic ratings, reaching 123.4 million viewers via CBS and its other platforms, with it being described as the...
Did that just pick up on the microphone? Did you guys hear that? I think it was a car backfiring. I hope it wasn't a gunshot, because that was like right outside my house. Okay, yeah. I think it was a car backfiring. I can't be positive, but I think. All right, me. Okay.
The most watched telecast ever, or the most watched telecast since the moon landing, which one is huge. Though two, we need to remember these are like very America-specific numbers, because if you want to talk about crazy numbers, I think FIFA said that the last World Cup, 1.5 billion people watched it live. So the NFL and the Super Bowl, huge. But that also kind of hits on why the NFL is interested in like getting the sport out of the country. But there is a lot of attention on this year's historic numbers for a number of reasons, right? Because even though the last Super Bowl was another record breaker, this follows a 5-year period where ratings were really in flux, declining in 2019, hitting a historic low in 2021. Though also, I think it's important to note that comparison here can be tricky. And that's because over the last several years, Nielsen's actually changed how it counts out-of-home viewing at venues like bars. But still, with all this, you have many people attributing this viewership jump, at least in part, to Taylor Swift. She was at the game rooting for Kelsey and the Chiefs. She's been to a number of games this season. The playoff game made history. And in fact, 20% of viewers said that they were rooting for Kansas City because of her. And seemingly, this is just continuing the trend of everything she touches turns to gold. Right? I mean, recently, the Grammys, they've been struggling with their ratings. They saw a substantial uptick this year as she was nominated for and won several awards. I mean, hell, even the Golden Globes, which had practically been ready to be lowered into its grave, they saw a ratings boost this year with her being one of the most notable stars in attendance. But you also have people saying it's not just Taylor Swift, arguing that this is actually part of a much larger phenomenon, which is women driving the economy. Right? Saying from the box office to concerts, women were running the world last year. And so, it'll be interesting to see if broadcasters pick up on that trend, if they capitalize on female-centric entertainment.
How's it going, Sam? Wait, what?
Actually part of a much larger phenomenon, which is women driving the economy. Right? Saying from the box office to concerts, women were running the world last year. And so, it'll be interesting to see if broadcasters pick up on that trend, if they capitalize on female-centric entertainment in the near future. I mean, it's already something we're seeing with the Oscars, which is heavily leaning into the Barbie of it all, with them even releasing a promo this morning in a mini Barbie spoof starring some of the cast, especially because in all likelihood, it's not going to win Best Picture or a lot of its categories, with many saying that its best bet right now is for Best Song with Billie Eilish. Ultimately, we'll have to wait and see, because over time, we're really going to be able to see the scope of this trend, how specific it is to certain artists, or if it becomes like an industry-wide thing. Especially as there are a number of different trends that I find fascinating right now, like kind of the recent resurgence of country music. Obviously led by the likes of Morgan Wallen. Helped some friends recently put me on to Zach Bryan. And we're seeing more and more artists actually jump into the space. Right, Post Malone's been a good example. Beyonce now more recently, although they're not technically a new avenue for her, but then that starts this whole other conversation. There was that whole daddy lessons controversy years back. But yeah, all of this is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And then, I probably have 3 pairs of Raycon earbuds. One for my gym bag, I set on my desk, and a pair on my nightstand. And funny enough, I use my Raycon everyday earbuds just about every day. So thank you, Raycon, for being a partner and sponsor of the PDS. Because Raycons are affordable, starting at half the price of other premium audio brands, so you don't have to choose between products. You can get one of each, or a pair and a spare. And something that works for me is that they have 3 sound profiles. Pure sound for when I'm listening to podcasts, balanced sound when the music changes up, and I love the bass sound, especially when I'm running. And they're set.
Okay. Jon Stewart tackles the Biden-Trump rematch that nobody wants. I almost don't want to watch this. And the reason I almost don't want to watch this is because I have a lot of really positive memories of Jon Stewart. He was a very instrumental person in my, political upbringing, right? I watched The Daily Show just about every night when I was in high school. Watched the Colbert Report a little bit, but I liked Jon Stewart just a tiny bit more. Because I thought it was a little bit more real. Even though it is a comedy show, felt a little bit more real than Colbert's style of doing shit, right? Recently, though, I gotta say, dude's been a little bit wrong about some stuff, right? Just a little bit wrong about some stuff. And I think that is, I don't know if it's a product of me just getting older and realizing that, there's more to the world than just the jokes that he says and the dunks that he gets on certain commentators or something. Yeah, he said some stupid shit in the past couple of years, right? So I'm not sure if I want to watch this, but one second. What are we talking about in chat? We have medicalized all bad behaviors to the point where 90% of bad people are just mentally ill. Trump isn't a garbage human being. Everyone is calling him narcissist or delusional. I think that you can be both mentally ill and a piece of shit. I don't think that mental illness is an excuse for being a piece of shit whatsoever. I know a lot of mentally ill people who are just the most scum, unworthy of human compassion type people I've ever seen in my life, okay? That are mentally ill. Just because you're mentally ill does not give you an excuse for being a piece of shit, okay? You're saying, I'm tired of mental illness being a scapegoat for violence? When it comes to gun violence, I'm sorry, yeah, it is going to be a little bit of, it is going to be a lot of mental illness driving that. I don't even think that that's, I don't think that's disputed. I don't think that you can be a mentally well person. Yeah, I don't think you could be a mentally well person and get a gun and then go and try and kill as many people as possible. That doesn't excuse the behavior whatsoever, but no, because we're talking about fundamentally different things, Tron. I think that's where the disconnect is. We're
eyebrow raising. Okay, let's move on to Donald Trump also making some interesting eyebrow-raising comments, which have set off a firestorm here in Washington and on the newspaper columnists of America. Donald Trump weighing in on an alleged conversation, I'm going to say alleged, with a European leader of NATO, asking to Trump, allegedly, whether Trump would defend him. And he said, no, I would not defend you if you don't pay your bills. In fact, I would tell Russia, do whatever the hell they want. Let's take a listen to what he said.
The presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said,
we talked about this yesterday.
Let's say that happened. No.
Really quick, just as a recap of my thoughts on this, it is insane. There is no defense of it. It is wholly unjustifiable to say shit like this as the prospective, again, leader of the free world. Holy shit. It is unfathomable to me. Absolutely unfathomable that people would defend these statements. It is insane. All right? I don't care how fiscally conservative you are. I don't care how libertarian you are. The idea that we would cede our position as world leaders because some of our poorer allies aren't able to actually, because some of our poor allies aren't able to like fully pay the bill. Like, again, let me see if I still have the, no, I don't. I think I closed it out. NATO spending by country, GDP over time. We have this. Is this the thing that, no, this isn't the one. Chart where NATO expenditure stands, right? Like, the countries that are in red are the ones that aren't hitting the 2%, right? Germany is ramping up their productive capabilities. So is France. So is Italy, right? Poland is real, like they've more than doubled theirs, right? Canada is, like, all of our allies are already bumping their numbers up as a result of the Russian invasion, right? Now, some of the poorer nations, now Norway doesn't really have much of an excuse whatsoever because they're one of the most wealthy nations in the entire world. Let me see here. The majority of the countries that aren't hitting that 2% are like Slovenia, Luxembourg, literally just like a city-state, Luxembourg, right? Albania, North Macedonia, Montenegro. Like, we would just leave them to rot if they didn't hit their numbers? We would encourage Russia to invade them? That is crazy. That is insane.
No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay.
You got to pay. Crystal, this has set off some of the most deranged discourse that I've personally seen since 2016, whenever he said something similar. At one point, the front page of the Financial Times, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and there's one other, I think The Guardian, the big five, I guess, as you could say, all had the exact same headline, which was like Trump to abandon allies, encourage Russians to attack. Now, first of all, that's not.
He literally said that. I want to hear the cope. That's not what he said. That's not what he meant. Yes, it is. He literally said it. What about the argument that Trump's crazy statements here? I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking. Are you saying, like, do the Trump is crazy statements apply here? Yes. But it doesn't absolve him of anything.
Not what he said. He didn't say abandon allies. He said, if you don't pay your bills the minimum 2% threshold, then I would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. That's not the same thing as saying that you're abandoning the NATO.
It literally is. What the is this cope? This is stupid. I'm sorry. This is possibly the single stupidest thing Sagar has ever said. Bar none. I do not know how anyone could take him seriously after hearing that. Wait, hold on. We can just do the thing. Trump NATO. Trump NATO. Trump. Accidentally did Trump latest news. Whoops. Where's just the clip? There we go. We can just watch it.
200, they were 250. I did the same thing with NATO. I got them to pay up. NATO was busted until I came along. I said, everybody's going to pay. They said, well, if we don't pay, are you still going to protect us? I said, absolutely not. They couldn't believe the answer. And everybody, you never saw more money pour in. The Secretary General Stoltenberg, well, I don't know if he is anymore, but he was my biggest fan. He said, all these presidents came in, they'd make a speech, they'd leave, and that was it. And they all owed money, and they wouldn't pay it. I came in, I made a speech, and I said, you got to pay up. They asked me that question. One of the presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills. And the money came flowing in.
Okay. Now let's listen to Sagar's cope.
Big five, I guess, as you could say, all had the exact same headline, which was like Trump to abandon allies, encourage Russians to attack. Now, first of all, that's not what he said.
Does anybody in chat disagree that is what he said?
He didn't say abandon allies. He said, if you don't pay your bills the minimum 2% threshold, then I would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. That's not the same thing as saying that you're abandoning the NATO treaty. Second, and
it is.
This is obviously something I feel very strongly about Europeans who are not pulling their weight. I have the official
I'll address
NATO
it later,
numbers
Tron.
right here in front of me. The majority of the NATO alliance, even after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, including the great powers from Germany and France, including Germany and France and Italy, some of the biggest economies in the world, do not spend the minimum 2% on the NATO guideline. Now, they can do what they want, but remember that it's supposed to be a mutually beneficial pact that is happening here. So
it is mutually beneficial. We get a lot of say in things that happen in their country as a result of them being part of NATO. It is beneficial because we want people to be on our side when it comes to international issues. It is to our benefit, even if they don't pay, even if they don't spend a dime. Now they should. I'm not going to sit here and be like ultra retarded about it and say, oh no, like we can just like defend the entire world without any kind of, promise of, payback or, whatever. No, I wouldn't say that. But you know what I will say? It is only in our interests to make sure that NATO continues to operate in the way that it does, even if people aren't able to pay their fair share.
anyway, with all of that, I'm curious for what you think.
Yes.
Also, like part of being in NATO, like it implies that you're going to be part of, the economic trading bloc that we have with the rest of the world, right? Like all of our allies in NATO and shit, like we're all working together We all like made promises about like how we're going to run our governments with democracy, with a capitalist outlook on things, no socialists allowed, which is based. Yeah, NATO is just a force of good in the world. And we should want to encourage people to pay, not through, threatening with them with, hey, we're going to tell Russia that if you don't pay, then you're fair game. That's insane.
So I have a few things to say about this. I mean, first of all, as you said, like the conversation.
Also, exactly what Replay said down here. It's not like they're just like paying membership dues, right? It's domestic spending on their own military.
Probably didn't happen.
Okay,
it's probably not real.
It also obviously didn't happen.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I mean, listen, it is a crazy thing to say, to be like, hey, Russia, go ahead and invade whoever the hell you want. Like, I don't support that. I think that's an outrageous thing to say. I think it's part of why, like, having him as commander-in-chief is, once again, is a terrifying prospect, because he is incredibly impulsive and all over the map, and he was not the peacenik that his supporters try to claim that he was. So there's that, like, I don't think the comments were good. Now, I'm not a big NATO person, you know, and I certainly don't support the expansion of NATO. So all the freak out about the NATO alliance and the sanctity of it, and oh my God, he's going to go after NATO, et cetera, et cetera. I find that part a little bit silly, not only because I'm not a NATO person, but because he also didn't really do that last time he was president.
Yes.
And this is one thing that,
Because what?
Not only because I'm not a NATO person, but because he also didn't really do that last time he was president.
Yes.
And
Just because he didn't do something last time. These are all the same cope arguments that people made about Trump in 2016. Oh, well, he wouldn't do that. Oh, well, he wouldn't do that. And then he would. Oh, Trump will almost certainly, absolutely, without a doubt, support, whoever wins in the election, right? He's not going to sit there and try and hold on to power no matter what. And then he did. Why do we continue with this stupid cope that, well, he didn't do it last time, so he probably won't do it this time? He did do it last time. He showed us who he is. I'm a big believer in the idea that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Huge believer in that. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't do this cope shit. Don't do this stupid, ridiculous cope that, oh, well, he can't do that. There's no way for him to do that. Because he always tries to find a way to do that. Almost without exception. He tries to bend the rules.
And this is one thing that, I think you have to consider his words, but I think you also have to consider what his actual policy was as president. And this is where, we're just kind of getting back to this like Russiagate impulse within the mainstream press, within the Democratic Party, et cetera, which took just his words and his seeming, often voiced sympathy and affection for Putin, and did not consider the fact that his actions were actually in the totally opposite direction. He was very hawkish towards Russia, did not, in fact, give them what they want, did, in fact, like bolster Ukraine and ship weapons to them in ways that even Obama was not willing to do. So I just think that the dialogue becomes very unhinged when you only take those comments and project them into policy and don't also look at the actual policies that he pursued as president of the United States.
That's so obvious and true, right? To anybody who is a genuine observer of this. I honestly wish we'd seen more of that guy whenever he was president. Trump expanded NATO. Trump is the one who put freaking North Macedonia into the U.S. nuclear umbrella. Do people even know North Macedonia is a country? Did you know that you're signed up for nuclear war, that if they get attacked? Anyone want to riddle me that about why exactly that makes sense? Or Montenegro? Again, people may know from a Bond movie. That's their most extent. They're going to know anything about freaking Montenegro. Also, now we're all
both conservative, like actually everybody does this. People will say like, oh, well, people don't even know where this is. Why do we care? Because just because you personally are stupid and you don't know about this thing doesn't mean that it's not a worthwhile endeavor. Just because you personally are too stupid to like understand, you know, the intricacies of geopolitics or anything like that, just because doesn't mean that we shouldn't do something. You can blame the American, you know, you can blame the American education system all you want. It doesn't change anything. Sorry, it's actually kind of mind-boggling that someone admits that they are so uneducated that they don't know where a country is or what a country is, and therefore we should change our diplomatic status towards another country because they personally are too stupid to understand why we should continue to help these nations out. Is that not a self-report on the reporter himself, that he knows more about Bond villains than he does about our own allies? Is it not a self-report that we should take into consideration when listening to him? That he so casually just like says like, oh yeah, well, I don't even know where this is. When's the last time you thought about Montenegro? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. The people who are in charge of our country know what Montenegro is. They know what its strategic benefits to the United States are. Why are you so smart that you don't need to know or care?
Signed up to die for Finland and Sweden, which is great, obviously. Countries that have previously been at war with Russia. Awesome. Now, let's think too about the actual substance, where everyone's like, he's going to abandon NATO. Trump shipped weapons to Ukraine. Trump was one of the most incompetent commanders-in-chief of our lifetime in actually executing what he wanted. He wanted to withdraw from Syria. Who just died? Crystal? Troops doing what exactly? Right. Oh, the ones who were in Syria.
I bombed Syria.
Trump said he was going to abandon, or he's going to pull us out of Afghanistan. That didn't happen. Signed a peace deal. He tried to do it allegedly or whatever at the end. Never happened. Biden is the one who ended up actually pulling through with it. Trump was the one who told us that he was going to force NATO to pay their fair share. None of that happened. And in fact, most of their defense spending remained static until the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And then even the measly Baltic countries are the only ones who are paying up, and they barely mean anything in absolute terms of military power. So like I can go on and on forever in terms of like what he actually did. But that's part of why it's so infuriating, because I'm like, I wish he would be more like this. If he were the president, if he did this.
That, number one, that's crazy that you want our commander-in-chief to do stupid, unhinged, retarded shit. That's insane to me. But even past that, my brother in Christ, you don't want a president to do that. My brother in Christ, even Trump just saying that he wants to do this is a bad thing, because it signals to our allies that if Trump is in office, he might not have their back. It signals to Russia that they can do whatever the f they want. Even if they can't, even if he can't follow through with it, that's what the signal that he's putting out there. That's what the signal is. You can't sit there on one hand and say, oh, well, obviously this would be a bad thing if he did this, but like he can't. And, but like it would be like kind of based if he did, because Montenegro, because I don't know where that is. Like all you're doing is exposing the fact that you are a product of the American education system, and you're showing that you don't actually care about any of the issues that we're talking about, right? Like, how can you care about any of these issues or claim to have any expertise on any of these things if you don't understand why NATO is an important thing for the US to maintain a, you know, a really, really, really good standing in.
I would support him even more. I'd be like, absolutely, congratulations, please make them actually pay their fair share. But that's not what happens. It's like NATO at this point is a religion. And then that's what I've really come to understand. Ukraine and NATO allegiance is a literal religion of the columnists and the foreign policy elite in this country. They think it's like 1970s.
Oh, it all comes back to the goddamn media. It all comes down to the goddamn media. It's just a religion that the media follows. Couldn't be like a actually principled stance about wanting to protect American interests. No. It's got to be the goddamn media playing games and pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Retard.
Or whatever in the Soviet.
Does this dumb not understand that he's part of the media that he rails against so hard? You're sitting at a news desk with branded mugs and a picture of the Capitol behind you. You're part of the media.
Big bad Soviet Union is on the horizon and all this is complete nonsense. I mean, even here in Ukraine is not in NATO. Ukraine borders NATO. That's different. It's not the same thing. They treat it as an attack on NATO. It's like, well, then what does that mean? Every country that borders NATO is now also in NATO. There's no limiting principle to any of this. So it's one of those where the freak out does not match the action. And then even then, consider this. Majority of people at this point are against more funding to Ukraine. How can you try and run this like NATO scam again?
NATO scam.
After the majority of people see through your BS blob talking points. So that's it. Finally, then we have to
blob
get to Nikki
talking
Haley,
points.
who, of course, is seizing on this. You know, she's running on NATO, I guess. She's going after Trump for saying that he would, quote unquote, abandon NATO, even though that's not what he said. Here's what she had to say.
He
NATO
did.
has been a success story for the last 75 years. But what bothers me about this is
Like people talk about 1984 all the time. Don't believe what the people say, right? Don't believe your own eyes and ears, all right? Only believe what the party says. People talk about 1984 like it's the Democrats that do that. Honey, we're in it now with people like you. You were single-handedly playing into the Big Brother memes. He literally said that. He would encourage Russia. He would encourage Russia.
take the side of a thug who kills his opponents. Don't take the side of someone who has gone in and invaded a country and 500,000 people have died or been wounded because of Putin. Don't take the side of someone who continues to lie. I dealt with Russia every day. The last thing we ever want to do is side with Russia. What we always need to remember is America needs to have friends. After September 10th, we needed a lot of friends. We can never get into the point where we don't need friends.
So, you know, it's like, look at the way that she talks about it. It's like a religion. It's like friendship. Friendship is supposed to be mutually beneficial, not one person taking something out of your pocket for 75 years straight. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like the way that they talk, you know, freak or whatever about this. And I also just genuinely think this is a popular position amongst the American people. If you frame it the way I did around, you know, it's like, listen, if you don't pay, then what exactly? You're not fulfilling your obligations that you all mutually agreed to over a decade ago. And then especially post-Ukraine, I don't know how they can think like being pro-NATO is a popular position outside of like the DC electorate.
Yeah, I mean, again,
because most people, I mean, now maybe this has changed recently, but for the first like 2 years of the invasion, U.S. support of Ukraine poll. I actually don't know what the, this is November 2nd, 2023. Is there, compared with 50, okay, so it went down in a month. And then it went back up? Or is this, okay, this is the Republican Party. So, conflicting results. Oh, really? I have to have a subscription to Defense News? Thank you. No, thank you. Strong support, waning support, half of Americans, half of Republicans. This is all over the place. Okay. It's not an unpopular position to like NATO. It is not an unpopular position to support Ukraine. It is not an unpopular position to say that Russia is crazy and is trying to like destroy the world. All right? Like these are facts about the world that we can see with our eyes and ears, despite what Sauger is, I guess, seeming to tell us that we can't trust our eyes and ears, despite what Donald Trump literally said in the clip that he showed right before saying that Trump didn't say it. Yeah, Trump is saying that we should abandon our NATO allies that don't or can't meet their share of the, defense spending. Is this person dead? Oh, Jesus.
Listen, I don't want to say like I thought his comments were great because
Oh, I thought that they showed the clip at the beginning. Did they not? Huh.
encouraging Russia to like invade wherever the hell they want is insane. Don't support it. That's just like imperialism. Also, with regard to NATO, you know, I don't think I do share that same position because if you're calling for Europeans to increase funding of NATO, what you're really looking at is increasing even more funding to Ukraine.
Well,
it's
while
not
we decrease our funding.
Right, but it's not really calling for like, you know, cutting back NATO or, you know, curtailing it or even moving forward with the war in Ukraine. And that's the other thing is like, you know, he made some comments about the Ukraine war. He doesn't really talk about these things anymore. His position's very unclear. And it was very all over the map from the beginning. You know, sometimes he'd be more hawkish in what he said than Joe Biden. Then when he realized there was a political lane for him to be, you know, calling for a negotiated solution, then he was, oh, well, make a deal on day one. Who the hell knows what this guy is going to do when he's actually in office? That's the real truth, is the things that he says, the things that he does, the things that he wants to do versus the things he's actually capable of doing are two totally different things. But, you know, at this point,
we don't know that. What he is capable or incapable of doing, or what he wants to do or what he doesn't want to do, we don't know. That's why he's so scary. Without the threat of a third Trump, what do you call it? A third Trump, what do you call it? Term. When he is just unfettered and able to do whatever the he wants. That's a kind of a terrifying prospect.
Point to have a total panic freak out over some comments related to NATO when he wasn't able to deliver on any of that or push forward any of that agenda last time around. I just think, you know, the freak out is not justified.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, Michael Tracy went back and pulled all these predictions made by David Frum in July of 2016 of what would happen with NATO. Not a single one came true. He's like, NATO will be abandoned. Trump will pull us out of, not one. Like expansion, increase of funding, more NATO-friendly policy, consistently allowing the NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg to basically roll him, and you know, Stoltenberg would smile at Trump and be like, "Yeah, absolutely, just keep giving us a little bit more money." And Trump would be like, "Okay, sure." You know, the NATO Secretary General told me he was going to do it. It's like he was so easily to manipulate and to influence. And honestly, we don't talk enough about that. You know, and Trump supporters and them too. They don't
really
seem to
grapple
with any of that.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com.
All right. Are there any final memes that we want to go over before we end stream? Any final memes? Wait, where the fuck did chat go? Oh, I must have accidentally closed it out. Whoops. Because I'm going to have to eat. I have not eaten all day. All right. He's literally doing the Vosh meme I've never showing or selectively showing. True. 1 second. Yeah, all right, guys. So this has been a fun stream. It's been a relatively short stream, but we are we out here. All right. If you guys like my stuff, all right, recommend it to your friends. Share my stream, share my videos or something. All right. Share the shit from the shorts page. All right. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube so that you can see more of my shorts. All right. Click on my videos, like my videos. And if you're feeling particularly generous, all right, what would be an unbelievable help to me would be to look at the game. But what would be a really big help is subscribing on Kick or becoming a member on YouTube. That is very helpful. I want to be able to pay the editor. I am poor. I am not able to stream very much, but the guy is putting in a lot of work and the guy's got grit. Okay, so he deserves to get paid. All right. And you guys subbing will help me pay him. It will help me afford, my crippling issues with ADD so that I can go to, the doctor and get my medications and shit. All of that's very important to me. I really like to be able to concentrate. I am in school right now. If we are able to do a little bit more with streaming stuff, then I'll probably be doing a lot of, what do you call it? Oh yeah, like using my school stuff for stream, right? Because I'm a political science major, right? I do political science for school. So if I want to be able to use that for stream, the best way for me to be able to use that for stream is for people to show support in these ways. I'm not very good at shilling. It makes me very uncomfortable to shill. I don't like asking people for money. I don't know what the fuck it is with other streamers where they just feel super comfortable with all of the shilling. I don't. But yeah, this is me shilling once again for your money if you guys feel generous. That was long-winded and very ineffective. Hey guys, I love you guys very much. All right. I don't think that we have anyone that we can raid into. I only get Andrew Tate shorts. Hey, you know what you should do? You should go to my YouTube and you should like mine every time you see them. And that way you'll start seeing mine in your feed. All right. If you like my YouTube videos, if you like my shorts on YouTube and you click the like button, they'll show up more for you and my streams will show up more for you. So you should do that right now while you're watching. All right. It'll show up more in your feed and it'll show up in other people's feed too. And then we'll get ad revenue and then we can really grift people. All right. Anyways, I love you guys very much. I don't think we have anyone that we can raid into, so I'm just going to end stream. I love you guys very much. I think the next time I'll be able to stream is Thursday, maybe. So I'll see you guys then. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube or follow me on Kick. And, we have the memberships on YouTube. We have the subscriptions on Kick. If you guys want to, throw a couple of bucks my way, there are some nice little treats for you. Different emotes and different AI things that the editor can do for you. All right. I'm really bad at promoing. I love you guys very much.